Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Small Steps, Big Wins Doable Movement Workshop. I'm so glad you guys are here. For those of you watching the replay, I'm really thankful that you're there watching the replay as well. I've got some great information about how to make movement a more doable part of our day. How many times have you said to yourself, I know what to do, but I'm just not doing it? So I'm going to just give you a little overview of what to expect today. I'm going to start with a little bit about me, bit about my story for those of you who don't know me. Then we're going to talk about what has been preventing you from moving your body and just getting in some exercise each day. When you think of the word exercise, like why it sort of makes sense that you know what to do, but you're not doing it. And then I'll do a short teaching that you can apply to any habit that you would like to create that's super powerful. And then by the end of today's call, you're going to have a clear picture of why this is happening, understand exactly what to do about it. And I will be asking for those who are here, I can ask for maybe bring you up, and we'll go through a process of helping you to create a new habit for you. That's something that you've been really struggling with, and we'll get to it by the end of the call. At the end of the call, also, I will be offering an exclusive invitation for those of you who are interested in learning how to work with me a little bit more. Those of you watching the replay, all of these links will be available to you as well. And so there'll be an explanation of exactly what to expect within the Lose It Forever weight loss coaching program. So, um, starting with me, I want to introduce myself. I'm Amy Scott. I have been overweight my entire life, even as a young child, kind of uncoordinated. Exercise was never on my radar, never a part of my life. And I lost 80 pounds through a group coaching program. The very first step for me was to start a movement, to start actually getting some movement in my life. I started out walking. I spent, before I lost my weight, I had spent many, many years in a yo yo diet cycle. I'd lose weight, but then I was unable to keep it off for good. I just felt so discouraged and defeated. After I turned, and I also, in addition, have Hashimoto's thyroid disease. By the time I was in my 50s, I was really at the point of just giving up and thinking, obviously, it's just not meant for me. I'm not meant to be a kind of person that loses weight. And so I just was at a breaking point. Then I met my weight loss coach, and I learned that through coaching, there's many facets to losing weight that I hadn't tried before. And this was a losing weight in a whole new way that I had never done before that was so much more sustainable. And this is what I teach my clients as well. And I would love to teach you. So once I did lose my weight, I knew I wanted every woman to feel this amazing in her body. So I got certified as a life coach in 2022. I'm actually coming up on my anniversary, which is so exciting. 24th, I think it is, of October, that I will have been 3 years as a life coach. And I began the Lose It Forever weight loss program about a year ago to reach even more people and um, teach the amazing tools that I'm going to start sharing with you today. At the end of today's call, I will be sharing my calendar, and you're welcome to set up a free sales consultation. But for those of you who are interested in joining the Lose It Forever weight loss group now, I have a link that you can have access to right away. So if some other people jump on the call later, I will put that in the chat for them. All right. Okay, so let's get to it. So here are some of the main reasons why we do not create a habit of doable movement. Number one, the first thing I think of is we compare ourselves to other or to our past selves or to an ideal self of like the person we think we should be. Like we'll hear something on TV or you talk to your doctor and you think, I should be this different kind of person. And so there's a lot of should, and I wish I was, but I'm not, and just like never being enough of where you are right now. Another one is you start to think, okay, I got this. I'm starting off. You start a program and you start off really strong, and you're like, yes, I got this. This is the new me. And then it lasts as long as the motivation lasts, like a week, maybe two. If I like have had this happen to me, right? You're good for a little while, but then the motivation wanes and you're like, man, I started off so strong, but then you end up like injuring yourself, getting too tired. You start, feeling like this is not, I can't keep this up. I can't keep this pace up. And then you feel like, well, I'm not going to bother because if I can't go all in, why even bother? So that's another reason, another trend that I see in myself and my clients. Another reason is you set yourself up for failure ahead of time because you keep telling yourself, I'm too old, I'm too heavy, I'm too embarrassed to go to the gym, I have Hashimoto's, it's why bother? I don't want to be seen in public. Believe me, I have thought all these things of reasons why not to work out. And then if it feels too hard because it's too cold or too dark, I remember, especially in Pennsylvania, I live outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In the winters, our winters we have long dark days in the winter. And I just don't want to get out of bed I did not want to get out of bed when it was dark and cold. Um, so you bully yourself into telling yourself that you're incapable of getting started, and then even if you did get started, then you always give up, and you can never seem to keep it going. So what that is like looks like is you're heaping judgment on top of the fact that you already did it. So your attitude about it stinks, and so you're just thinking, why bother? It's just horrible. What if I like you just have that in the back of your mind that this is never going to happen for me? But what if you could make it work? So when you're bullying yourself, when you're telling yourself, I'm not as good as this other person, or I'm not as good as I think I should be, no wonder. Like, no wonder if you're telling yourself it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too sunny, it's too dark. No wonder, right? No wonder. Let's just have some compassion for yourself. No wonder you don't want to get moving, right? So one of the things that I want to talk about is the doable movement method answers all of these issues. And I want to share with you that number one, that the reason to get moving in your weight loss process is not necessarily to expend calories so you can eat more. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But the reason for doable movement in your life is to connect with yourself, to increase your bandwidth in order to notice your physical hunger signals and not continue to only eat emotionally and do something loving for you. So we will talk more about that at the end, but there's a good reason to include movement in your life. And so, for an example, for me, sometimes I walk more intensely to like get a nice little sweat going and get my heart rate up. But sometimes I just enjoy walking in the sunshine. It helps with my headaches. It helps with my just calming my nervous system down. Sometimes I walk to learn. I learn with audiobooks or podcasts or things like that. Or sometimes I go for a walk or and I move to connect with others. And I'll give you some more examples about that too. All right, so here's the teaching portion. Um, so, how to create a good habit. So, number one, we're going to find a way to make it obvious. So, let me just put that there, make it obvious. And what that looks like is just take some time to notice like, what are you currently not doing? What are you currently wanting to do, but you're not doing? And just like being kind to yourself, asking yourself, why does that make sense that I'm not doing it? Um, so, for example, if right now you're scrolling on your phone and instead of exercising, maybe so the sorry, I skipped a step. Why does it make sense? Is that question. So just noticing what you're not doing and wanting to do. So what you want to do to make it obvious is make a plan for the habit that you want to create. So first of all, decide what habit it is that you want to create. And then you want to connect your new habit to an old habit that is stopping you from doing it. The example I came up with is, and this happens to me, I'm scrolling on my phone in bed, and then the question to ask yourself is, okay, how can I do both? How can I get this going with exercise? So what if I could look on my phone and exercise? What if I could watch a fun YouTube video and exercise? Another example that this is what I came up with is I love drinking. I'm off caffeine, but I drink decaf coffee and I read for fun and then go out. I like to drink coffee. I like to, but I also wanted to create a habit of daily planning and journaling. So I attached the drinking of the coffee to daily planning. So the coffee gets made, it's like a little bit of a ritual, and then I go out and exercise. So I'll do some journaling, some thought work, that kind of thing, and then I'll go out. Um, Number two, to make it obvious, is setting a measurable goal. So when I started walking, it was 3 times a week for 20 minutes, um, 2 times a week for strength training, cardio for 3 times for 20, strength training half hour. My goal right now is just right, and it has been 30 minutes of movement. That's it. Some people feel like you have to make a really big goal, but you can even start as little as 5 minutes. If you're going to create a habit, it's to make it really measurable so that it is doable. I listened to a podcast one time of a gal who wanted to do yoga every day. And so she made a minimum baseline, which I love to talk about. Minimum baselines is she did, if you're familiar with yoga, there's a thing called cat cow where you just sort of bend your back and then you like arch your back and then bend it the other way, cat cow position. And her goal was to do yoga every day. So she said, "All right, I think I can do 5 cat cow rounds each day." And that was her minimum baseline. And she ended up feeling really good about it and was off and running. So that's what I love to teach my clients is what's your minimum baseline, keeping it measurable. All right. Thirdly, this all goes under making it obvious. Design your environment. Make an attractive place to go work out. Decide ahead of time what is going to make it just more easy and doable. Look up a workout routine ahead of time. So a lot of times I use YouTube for workouts. There's like dance workouts. There's strength training workouts there. And if I don't decide ahead of time, I like end up like scrolling and wasting my time. So you want to design your environment, plan that ahead of time so that you have your workout already planned. Um, Putting your clothes out the night before, making it really obvious so that you're like, oh, that's right, I'm starting this new thing. Because you might forget, like especially if it's a newer habit that you're trying to create, you actually might forget. So whatever you can do as a visual cue to remind you, oh no, that's right, this is the kind of person I am. I'm the kind of person that just gets my clothes on when I first get up because I had them sitting out, like wherever that makes it up, wherever it's an obvious location in the bathroom, or I have a little hook in my closet that I keep all my workout clothes, your sneakers handy, your sneakers and your socks, whatever. Have it right by the door or preset up your coffee the night before. All these are to set yourself up to see it. Um, Another thing that you can do to design your environment is have a plan. Have a plan for inclement weather. So I live in Pennsylvania. We have lots of rain, especially and snow and ice in the winter. So now's the time before it happens, instead of like the day of going, oh, well, it's raining, instead of using it as an excuse, start thinking now how to make it obvious, how to make working out or doing some type of movement easy for you. Are you going to maybe invest in some type of equipment that you would put in your house or join a gym or come up with a plan for inclement weather? I have lots of ideas. If you are stuck on that, we can talk about that in just a minute. And then the lastly is making an inviting workout space. So I have an example of that, and that is my basement is kind of not great looking. It's an unfinished basement, but we put a carpet down. I put out we have this etagere. It's like a wicker shelf unit. I put all my weights. I put some of my videos on there. I have some other things that I want there. Tissues. I have some towels that I roll to make it pretty. Like in a spa. And then I have all my weights at this old shelf that make it easy. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Like that's the thing about making your environment. I also have some photographs that I love to look at. So I would just say, don't worry about if it's not perfect, but just thinking about it to do something for you to make it pleasant for you. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? And if you want to unmute yourself and put yourself on camera, you can ask some questions about that, any to make it obvious. And if not, that's all right. I'll move on. And if you guys are who are watching the replay have any questions about this particular thing, like making a plan for a rainy day, let me know. And you can always just drop me a line. Okay. All right. Next, make it compelling. Remind yourself why it's important. Inside the Lose It Forever weight loss program, we talk about creating a list of compelling reasons. Sometimes we have a compelling reason when we go to a wedding and we're like, man, I wish I didn't look the way I do. And all of a sudden then the reason, bubbles up. But what I like to do is really focus on day to day, practicing all of our compelling reasons as to why you want to be a different person, why you want to move your body, why you want to lose weight. Um, when it comes to you're out with your family and you want to keep up with them and you can't. One of my biggest compelling reasons started back when I was in my 30s and I wanted to go skiing and I did not fit, my legs did not fit into the ski boots. Probably it wouldn't have been safe for me to ski, is my guess also, because I wasn't very strong. I hadn't been working out at all. And and so I was a little nervous about even the thought of skiing. But really what happened was my reason now, the reason why I lost the weight was because I didn't want to miss out on anything like that again. I don't want to miss out on life. So whatever that reason is for you, to drop into that, we talk about that a lot inside the program. That could be a really helpful reason for you to get moving. So coming up with your compelling reason. So you want to make it compelling that way. Another way to make it compelling is to surround yourself with like-minded people. When you're working out with others and enjoying their company, that also get you moving. Connect and I will get more into that later, but sometimes when we surround ourselves with people that just want to sit around and just watch TV, it kind of makes sense that who you surround yourself with, you will become. And so just I want to offer this to take a look at who you are spending a lot of time with. Are they encouraging you to get up and move or not? And that might make a little bit of a difference, a big difference, actually. Um, Next is to make it compelling with connecting it with something you enjoy. So I gave you the example of listening to audiobooks or podcasts when I'm walking. When running, I love to run. It's something new that I have started doing in the last few years. I actually have a Spotify playlist. That's the Mamma Mia workout. That's my favorite one. Has some like show tunes. This is what I like, right? So show tunes and fun, upbeat music. I'll be happy to share if anyone wants to have the link. I'll be happy to share that. But anyway, that gets me going. It gets my blood pumping. I get so excited. I love to run with that playlist. Sometimes if I'm walking, I will talk to a friend or one of my sisters. I have a sister who lives in Connecticut, another one in Poland, and sometimes we'll walk and talk together, which is lovely. Sometimes I'll catch up with people on Voxer or Marco Polo. Of course, you have to be careful not to walk into the street if you're doing Marco Polo with your like video, but I do actually very often will do a Marco Polo when I'm walking. I have some other friends out of state that we connect with. Sometimes when I'm walking, it's really useful to just do nothing at all. It's a way to connect to me and let my mind just wander. Like how many times do we want to daydream and we don't allow ourselves to just daydream. I always wanted to. I can remember being in elementary school thinking, man, I just want to daydream. And here you go. You have a perfect built-in excuse to just let your mind wander and daydream. Um, so very often for me, a lot of times out when I'm out walking and I'm not doing anything to distract me, I will create some great stuff for you guys. So there we go. Lastly, another way to make it really compelling is invite another person to join you. Nothing compels me more than knowing my friend Krista is waiting for me at the park all of a sudden, even though it's dark, even though it's cold, even though I'm like not in the mood to get out of bed, knowing that she's going to be there waiting for me and we'll get a nice juicy gab session in while we're walking and talking, that gets me out of bed. That compels me to get out of bed. I actually did talk to my son Ben this morning, and he's training for a marathon, the Philadelphia Marathon, and he had a long run today, which he did not want to do. But he invited a friend of his who he knows likes to run, and at the last minute he called her, and he even said to me, we were talking this morning. He said, "Honestly, Mom, If she would have said no, I am not sure I would have done it. I think he did like his longest run yet today. He did 18 miles. And he was like, after the first 4 miles, I just wasn't feeling it. He said, I would have, if it wasn't for her knowing that she was going to be there, I probably would have called it. So it's so, so helpful. How many times will we even say, I would do something for other people before I would even just do it for myself? So, anyway, so that's how to make it compelling. All right, number three, make it easy. And this, again, these are all can be applied to any habit you want to create. So, one of the ways to make it easy is to divide your habit into smaller steps, into smaller doable actions. So, when I first started walking, like I said, I had a minimum baseline. One of the days I remember learning this, I learned this trick from my coach, is just to put your clothes on, just to get in the habit of putting your clothes on. Don't even work out. Put your clothes on to work out, go grab a cup of coffee, maybe read something fun that you like to do, but just for like maybe 5 times. Just get used to the habit of putting your clothes on and breaking it down into these micro habits. The next time when you're ready, add in walking, maybe walking around the yard, walking around your house, walking around the block. And just for like 5 minutes, get walking. And then so on and so on. Maybe then 15 minutes, then a half hour, then however long you want. Notice, so that's breaking those habits into smaller doable actions. Noticing what your obstacles are and making a plan to overcome them. That's the second thing underneath making it easy. So thinking about them ahead of time and making a plan to overcome that obstacle. So I have a client, Sue, who lives at the top of a hill. She wanted to start a walking habit, but it was just rough. So she just planned to go elsewhere until she realized that that was infringing on her habit. She wasn't creating the habit because it was making it so much longer. It was like 20 minutes to the thing and getting her dog. She's a dog, walk the dog, get the dog all in the car, make sure he was out before getting in the car and then going on this walk. And it was like, it made it so cumbersome. But then she started just walking in her neighborhood. Now the hill's not even that hard anymore because she's getting so much strength. She just noticed took up so much less time. The dog can just go out when she goes. Another client of mine, also, Kathy, we just talked this week in our group call that one of the things that she wanted to do, she had started this really great exercise habit over the summer. She's a teacher. And then when school started, she noticed she was like planning to come home, get her exercise things on, and then go back out to the gym. And we talked about it, and she came up with this idea of just packing her exercise clothes with her, changing at work, and then she would be much more likely to go to the gym from work, making it so much easier. How hard is that? I mean, I can't even imagine. Once I come home from work, I'm not going anywhere. So just making it, what can I do? Like asking yourself this question constantly of what can I do to make this even easier? So, lastly, okay, making it pleasurable. Make whatever you're doing pleasurable. So, one of the ways to make it pleasurable is remind yourself again with your compelling reasons why you're doing this, and then spending time celebrating all your wins, celebrating how to your wins and how the things that you are doing really well, and spend some time doing that will make it much more pleasurable than for the beating yourself up, going like, I'll never get it, whatever. But instead of like, hey, I walked 5 minutes. I'm so proud of myself. And just reminding yourself that you're really proud of yourself. Um, Sometimes another way to make it more pleasurable is to reward yourself with something other than food when you complete your movement. A lot of times we want to celebrate, and we just used to using food. So coming up with asking yourself that question, what can I do besides food? What's another way to celebrate? What's another way to reward myself besides food? Um, then when you do finish your habit, sitting down to watch TV and you're relaxing, remind yourself how proud you are of accomplishing this thing and embrace the rest. This is one of those times also when we want to reward ourselves but we think, oh, well, this is a waste of time. But you also did the thing, like what is it with us that we just constantly are like beating ourselves up saying like, you know, it's not good enough. Like it's essentially saying no matter what I do isn't good enough, but it's just saying no, I did what I said I was going to do. I worked. I had this compelling reason, got myself out of bed. I had a measurable goal. I reached my goal. Let's just focus on that. And then I get to relax and enjoy myself without judgment, without guilt, and truly embrace the rest. Um, I also have a habit tracker that I'm going to be offering today as a bonus for those of you who sign up with the Lose It Forever program. For a limited time, I'm offering this customizable habit tracker for you to use as a way to track all your wins, as a way to celebrate and feel like a little dopamine hit when you get to check off the checkbox, which I totally love. So I have another client example of a client who made something pleasurable. And this is my client, Nancy, who loves to swim. She lives in a cold climate and in a city. So swimming was not at all accessible to her. And let me just tell you this. She tried to walk. She tried to like create this habit of walking or strength training, and it wasn't happening. She's like, what is wrong with me? I don't like any of those things. She just didn't like it. You don't have to do what you don't like. So let's make sure whatever you're choosing, it is pleasurable. Anyway, she found a way at a local high school to go swimming. Not only swimming, she actually gets to use a whirlpool, a what do you call it? Hot tub in this pool in this school. And so talk about making it pleasurable. So she swims, she sits in the hot tub, and she's loves. And all of a sudden, she's not minding getting up early, getting up in the dark, it being very cold because she lives in a very cold climate as well. And she hates. And she's not a so another here's another one as an excuse that many of us use. Well, I'm just not a morning person. Like I just don't, I'm not a, that's not who I am. This girl is not a morning person. She would always say, I'm not a morning person. I'm much better at night. So when you're feeling compelled to do it, when you're doing something pleasurable, all of a sudden that overcomes the old tape in your mind that says, well, I'm not a, morning person or whatever. Um, Another thing I do, yeah. So that is it, I think. Yeah. So that's that for the teaching portion. Does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask? And if you are watching the replay, you can just jot me an email. I also have Voxer support. You can just jot me an email and let me know if you have any questions. But anyone here on the call that has any questions, and if not, that's totally fine. You can just unmute yourself and ask. Um, Anything that came up that you would like help with as far as like coming up with a rainy day plan or anything like that, I'm happy to help you assist with that as well. So I can tell you what I do when it's raining. We did invest in some workout equipment. So I have actually, we're very fortunate. We have a basement that's, even though it's not finished, it's a nice size. So I have an elliptical, and we have collected these over time. I have an elliptical, a treadmill, and a bike, a stationary bike that I use on rainy days. I also will throw on a YouTube video and do strength training. I'll do yoga on rainy days. Um, I have when I've been short on time. So here's another reason that might block you from doing exercise. I have like we've had company in the house and I don't want to like wake anybody up. So I'll do sit-ups and push-ups in my pajamas up in my bedroom. And that's hey, 15 minutes, baby. I'm like, I'm happy. So you just do what you can. Your body weight is amazing. You could do tricep dips. You could do I do tricep dips off the couch where you kind of like lean back and do tricep dips. By the way, I am going to be going to work out. The reason I'm wearing my little workout stuff is my husband's watching the football game. The Eagles are playing. Go Eagles. And we're going to go for a walk afterwards. So to make it easy, I want to make sure I get my workout in because I didn't work out this morning because I went to church. I'm wearing my stuff right now for you guys. So getting y'all excited to get moving. So that's what I'm doing next. There's another way to make it easy. I'm trying to think another rainy day thing. YouTube is a huge wealth of information. And like I said, I would definitely encourage whoever is feeling overwhelmed by it is just pick one thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can do the exercise or sometimes they have strength training. Sometimes there's yoga. Sometimes there's a dance one that I did one time. It was like Mamma Mia. I love Mamma Mia music, so I would dance to it. That was a lot of fun, and that like, you learn some dance steps, or you like they show you like some different things to do. That was really fun, but planning that ahead of time. And if you don't like it, just don't do it again. But see, like keep experimenting and finding something that you truly love. And next thing you know, you can just do the same thing every day when it's raining, or just find something that you really, truly, truly enjoy. So, all right. Are there any questions? That's perfect. So many of us think that we need to move in order to lose weight, or you work out a ton. But as I stated before, you cannot outwork the amount of calories that you're consuming. So no matter what, in order to lose all your weight forever, you still need to tackle the food intake piece. And that's what we focus on most of the time in the coaching programs. So you can continue to do things on your own. But for me and for my 80-pound weight loss, I recognized that I needed help. So when it comes to doing something that I'd never done before, I definitely still need help. So I hire coaches. What a coach is a cheerleader and a guide, someone who can help you navigate the path that you've never been on. I help you to look out for obstacles that in the past would tripped you up. And I'm the guide that helps you to make your easiest next step. So the doable movement method is just one of the things I teach inside the Lose It Forever weight loss group coaching program. Along with that, I have several other tools that I use, and one of them is the sustainability weight loss system. So if you tried everything to lose your weight forever and have not been successful, my sustainability weight loss system has been proven with my clients and myself to be the permanent answer for you to lose all your weight forever. I can help you identify your own food protocol. So I don't give you a protocol, you decide what you actually eat, and you decide what you like to eat. And so so what I teach is just starting to notice what you like to eat and then plan that from that place. So you're going to be noticing what you're eating without that judgment, put up a simple plan in process. You also then learn to build trust with your body, learning the difference between physical and emotional hunger. And we talk a lot, that's what we talk about mostly, because most of the time when you're eating and you're not physically hungry, it's an emotional eat. So we also learn to identify what that looks like and be very kind to yourself to figure out how to solve for that. We celebrate all those wins instead of like the not enoughness and thinking like, oh, if I could just, lose 5 pounds, be thrilled to lose a half a pound. Um, we celebrate each of those wins on each week while we're working on the calls, and our clients share their wins for the week, which is so encouraging and so motivating because you can hear other people and their experience, which is so fun. Um, I'm all about simplifying things. So I've created a daily planning blueprint that you can jot all this stuff down and answer some simple questions to help you stay on track. I have a client who lost 30 pounds, my client MH, and her takeaways were that writing down the food literally takes very little time. A lot of people get stuck on that. They're like, oh, I have to write down the food. It's so hard. But she recognized, and my clients all say this to me, that it doesn't take that much time and it's so valuable and it's become a non-negotiable for her in her weight loss. She's learned to be okay with just being a little bit hungry. She's also learned the value of leaving a little bit of bites behind, learning that hunger is not an emergency. And she has taken away the idea that food is a treat for her. And her phrase to me was, I just feel like I'm always in control. So when you plan the food ahead of time, it loses its sexiness. So I plan ice cream. I will plan sweets. I will plan whatever it is that I want to eat. And when you're not eating behind your own back and beating yourself up, all of a sudden, it loses its allure, it loses its power over you. Um, so, so during our calls, we do spend some time poking those holes in those old, outdated, not those outdated thoughts, those things that are not serving you when it comes to losing all your weight forever. So after you get used to noticing what you're eating and planning food that you actually want to eat, then we build that momentum into building confidence now. With the self-confidence cure, you're going to move away from being frustrated and hopeless version of yourself and turn into someone who is radically in love with yourself and accepting of who you are right now. Yes, before you lose your weight. So I help you notice how you're talking to yourself. We spend time talking about who you already are, the amazing person that you are, with radical self-acceptance. And then I also help you notice how you're talking to yourself. And then we come up with a more supportive way in which to say these words. My client, Judy, actually did not come to me for weight loss. She'd been through a difficult divorce, very, very, it's just, she was in not a great shape. And she would even say she was very capable in her job, but when it came to like her personal life, she's like, why can't I just figure this out for my personal life too? But we worked on how she was talking to herself. Quite honestly, she would never have said that she was talking to herself badly until we started working together and I kind of pointed it out. And she was like, she was a little surprised. And then she changed it. And once she saw it, she could change it. And she has, as a result, she ended up losing 20 pounds and found the love of her life. And she's married now and happily married. So, how fun is that? But we worked through a lot of those things. So, one of the things that we also deal with when it comes to confidence is when we mess up, how you talk to yourself when you mess up. So, I have a process for that, and it's the Overeat Exploration Roadmap, where you learn to talk to yourself with compassion and go, "Oh, honey, like why does it make sense that I overate for this reason?" And so that's one of the pieces that I teach inside the program that you learn. Oh, I know. Even if I do mess up, if you stay out of that judgment, all of a sudden it becomes a learning opportunity and a way for you to explore what could you do differently next time when you eliminate the judgment about it, which is awesome. Now, have you ever said the words, once I start eating blank, fill in the blank, for me, peanut butter ice cream, I just can't stop? Well, this is exactly the problem that my manageable urge method solves. So it all starts with how you're talking to yourself, what kinds of foods you think you should be eating versus the ones you actually love. So a lot of times people are like, well, I'm eating all these salads, and then all of a sudden I allow myself to have a treat, or it's the holidays or vacation, and you just go completely bonkers. A lot of times this happens on the weekend too, where because you're not planning food that you actually like, you white knuckle it all week, and then you're eating all the like the yummy good play foods on the weekend. So I help my clients that you can to teach them. I teach them how that you can eat any food with control, and that so overeating on the weekends becomes a thing of the past. Overeating over the holidays. Holidays don't scare me anymore. We know what we're going to teach. I teach you how to handle that with the manageable urge method. And then by the time you complete my program, you're going to feel comfortable being around any type of food and eating them with control. So I have another client, Christy, who said, but basically after one session, I helped her identify a blind spot of how she was not, the issue was she was overeating and kind of a little bit of late night snacking. And which she didn't realize was she hadn't been taking breaks throughout the day. So sometimes the reason I don't want to say the word binge, but we're eating without control. We have that like out of control feeling is because we are rewarding ourselves with the food instead of talking to ourselves nicely throughout the day, taking our time, relaxing, giving yourself a break throughout the day. So she said, since our coaching session, she's already reduced her snacking by recognizing the real reasons behind it and implementing those tools that she can use right in that moment. So fun. So one of the things that I definitely will see for my clients is that you'll be moving into a more peaceful, centered version of yourself so that you can enjoy your life without overeating and beating yourself up. So this is what happens this all happens on a weekly call in our Lose It Forever week group coaching program. And let me tell you what's involved, what's included. So in the coaching program, you get weekly calls. You see all that? Oh, goodness, I should push this back a little. We have weekly group coaching calls on Zoom. And in that, we have teaching, we have a little bit of teaching time as well as coaching. We have a private Facebook community, so we actually just finished a really nice challenge of waiting for hunger challenge or stopping at enough challenge. And we like took pictures of like our life bites that we left behind. And honestly, it was super helpful for me to remind myself, like I would stop eating before I even started eating, I would take a little picture of my before meal, and then I would sit with myself and figure out when I'm done and take a picture of how many bites I left behind because that feels like a big win. So that was a lot of fun, and we do that together on in the group in the Facebook group. There's also places for to ask questions. In the Facebook group, I put all the replays. So there's a section there in our guides section where you watch where all of the replays are housed, as well as some teaching training videos. And there's more than 60 training videos now and replays. And then there's also some guides, some paper guides, like worksheets and things like that, that's going to help you with your process. And then lastly, with the program, you get Voxer support with me. So Voxer is an audio only app. So for some people that use Marco Polo, it's very similar to Marco Polo, but you don't have to be on camera. So that's kind of fun. So you can just jump on whenever you're thinking about, I have a question or I'm struggling, you jump on Voxer and ask me the question and I can coach you with the Voxer app. So that's super, super helpful. One of the things that happens is within about 48 hours after each call, I send out a replay to your email. So you'll get the replay right away. My client, LS, she's lost over 20 pounds. And she had done it without even attending a live call. She wasn't able to make it. We got the dates mixed up and she had another commitment after she had already bought the program, but she knew she wanted to be in the program. She decided to keep it up to try it anyway. And so she's actually started her second year as well. She loved it so much. But she did not come to live calls hardly at all for that first year. Something changed this year. She's on the calls, but yeah, she was able to get everything she needed just by watching the replays. So the way that works is I have the replays all labeled so that you can actually see the topic. So it's kind of like Netflix. You can just go and think, well, I'm having trouble with overeating or like a little bit of like my urges or dealing with like grabbing food, when I'm not hungry or whatever. And I have a call that deals with urges and I have a call that deals with nighttime eating, or I have a call that deals with whatever the topic is. We also do some just open coaching in our weekly calls. So once a month, I do open coaching. And with those, I also label them what I have coached on. Because if the client that I'm coaching is dealing with it, chances are you are too. So it's a great way to get coaching without having to pay a private one-on-one coach. So that is what I have to offer for the program. And what the investment is for you, it's only, there we go. It's an annual investment of $560 for the year or $55 a month. And I would love to see you in the program. If you have any questions, for those of you watching the replay, I'm going to be putting in so you can do it one of two ways. You can just sign right up with my link. I have the sales link to that sales page. You can just go ahead and sign up and I will get you started. I have a little onboarding process. You'll get some emails. I'll get you up and running so that you can see what you're doing. Or if you have more questions and you want to just go through a slower process, you can just sign up on my calendar. I'm going to put that in the link as well, where you can set up a sales call with me. I have a bonus that I'm offering that if you would sign up before next Sunday, so you have a week in order to sign up, and I'm going to give you a free habit tracker, which is completely customizable so that you can have that as like your little incentive to keep on going and to create the habits that you want to create for the rest of your life, to lose all your weight forever. So thank you so much for being here. Any questions? All right. Thank you. I will talk to you later. Bye.